All right. Welcome to AT Astro and a joint production with Badboy Tarot. How are you doing today, Bradley?
Wouldn't complain if I could, brother. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So, for those who don't know, this is Bradley Moonchild, a phenomenal tarot card reader that I've had the utmost pleasure to have made the acquaintance of. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Bradley. Who are you? What do you do? How'd you get here? Where the
All
fuck
right. Little intro about myself.
If you want, if you feel it's pertinent.
I just barely turned 21. That's a joke. I'm about to turn 38 because my solar return is coming around. I don't know if you believe in cusp, but I would lie on the Cancer Leo cusp.
You're fucking Cancer, bro. We've discussed this before.
You know I'm a Cancer.
You act like a Cancer.
I'm a Cancer fucking stellium.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I grew up a little musician. Learned to play the guitar. Well, I eventually taught myself the guitar. Grew up playing the fiddle and the violin. First major in college was music education. I was a stoner in high school, believe it or not.
Was it? In fact, I'm gonna do this on my podcast. Nobody's ever fucking seen me do this before, so fuck it. Boom.
Oh my god, that's so evil, bro.
I know, dude. The devil's lettuce, man.
The devil's lettuce. Well,
it almost killed me, and if you're not careful, dude, it's gonna kill you too.
Man, good thing I don't do it, or I can't. Good thing I'm not allowed to. So I gave that up to join the Navy. Did that for 5.5 years. Deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, Djibouti, Morocco, Kenya. Got out of the Navy with a wife that was almost the death of me. I heard
a little bit about that.
Ended up getting into some bad shit. Let that get the better of me. Went to federal prison for a couple years.
See, I'm going to interrupt you right there. That's a really cool thing that always drew me to you is, so me and Bradley, we happen to have sort of a joint or a similar shared past, not necessarily like in the terms that you're saying, but we both have, we've spent time incarcerated, and a lot of what we do now in terms of like the metaphysical community was honed through those periods of time.
Absolutely.
Like, didn't you learn tarot cards? Didn't you do cartomancy while you were incarcerated?
Yes, actually. Probably about a month before I got incarcerated, I saw a tarot reading for my first time from this dopehead chick, and she, surprisingly, as high as she was actually giving a pretty good reading. But I noticed that she skipped over a couple of cards, and then for some reason, I don't know how, I kind of like, aren't those like, doesn't that mean something? And then she like looks at me like, shut the fuck up right now. And I was like, all right, my bad. But like I knew everything that she was saying, like I totally related. I got a deck of cards and just started shuffling them to playing with. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But then I got locked up, ended up getting locked up, got pinched. Got in there and I didn't have shit else to do. So I got myself a deck of 52 card playing deck from Commissary.
Yeah.
Which was way overpriced. Way the fuck overpriced. But I paid for it.
Yeah, I remember it being like $7 where I was at. And then the final place I went to, like the big house, like we weren't even allowed to have them. So we were making them from scratch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we'd steal index cards and we'd draw, so we could play spades and stuff like that. And I used to do a little bit of that too, but I'm nowhere near the card reader that you are.
Well, it was crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, my first reading, and I do not claim to predict the future, but I actually told the guy when he was going to have a son and what day he was going to be born. I just straight intuition. I didn't have no books. I didn't have anybody there training, guiding me or telling me, what the meanings of the card. I just had like some high moments with this fucking tweaker chick that, that I kind of remembered this being that and that being that. That was just like, and I went from there. And so I just
like at that moment, I knew I had a gift.
I had a gift. I know. And I was sober. So I was able to retain this information that I was getting. So I kept notes, and I started reading cards. I never charged anything, but people would gift me,
Oh yeah,
commissary and shit, which was great. I mean, I kept my box full on the spades table. I mean, you could not beat me on the spades table.
So like I had a couple ephemerae or ephemerises mailed to me while I was locked up, and so I was using that to chart planetary movements, and I was using that to draw out people's birth charts by hand. And like I would do it like with the empty soup cup and the toilet paper roll to do the circle chart. And I mean, I thought it was fun. It was good because I was able to track. What I would do is I would interview these inmates, and I would track specific dates in their life, and then I would coincide the transits to particular dates. Right. And then I would also give them their natal chart readings, and it was interesting. I got to do a lot of really in-depth psychological study, and like I could sit there and listen to these people talk about themselves and do their charts and see what I saw in their charts and then watch it play out in everyday life. Because you know how it is. You're just sitting in there with them people watching them every fucking day.
Yeah. There ain't shit to do. They be watching the Kardashians on the TV, and I ain't about that shit.
Yeah, if you watch them long enough, you're going to get their whole routine. You're going to find out how many times they shit per day, how much food they eat per day, how long they spend working out each day or not working out.
I can thank my wonderful ex-wife for pushing me away from the Kardashians. She loved that shit, and that was one of the many red flags. But
ooh, the way they would get over soap operas.
Oh, the
Days of Our Lives.
What do they call it? Mexican soap opera. I was locked up with a bunch of paisas, man. The novellas.
Oh yeah, la telenovela, La Señora Acera.
Yeah.
Or El Señor de los Cielos, those little
the Cielos, yeah. That one was fucking cool, man.
Those were fucking cool. I just thought it was funny. Like I'd wake up at like noon, and they'd have these it would be mostly like the black dudes. I'm not trying to be racist or anything like that, but like the black dudes would be sitting up there watching it all in the morning. For some reason, they liked it more than anybody else, and they'd be like, "Damn, that nigga ain't come up out that coma yet, shit!" Like I'd just be hearing that shit every day. But anyway,
some of the most hardcore fucking gangsters like crying over those novellas, man.
I know.
It's insane.
Yeah, but through those periods,
he just stabbed somebody. Is he crying over a soap opera? All right.
So yeah, it's fucking insane. But yeah, through those periods of time, like me and you both, we went through that journey. We were able to sit there and we used it as a way to pass time, and it ended up actually turning into something tangible for the both of us. And
absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that I've always really kind of respected about you. Besides, I mean, me and you kind of are anomalies in our field, the tattoos and yeah. But all right, so
badass on my stomach right there.
Yeah,
you gotta pay extra to see that one though.
So we've got a lot of really interesting things happening in current events right now. And so just through the premise of this podcast, we'll be talking about stuff that's going on in the news, some really interesting stuff that we're going to get some predictions going for. We'll be talking about upcoming transits and auspicious dates for the month of July. I mean, I know it's still June, but we got about 10 days. So it's going to get pretty interesting. And actually, I think a good thing to start off with is Donald Trump actually announced formally his campaign for presidency this year. I mean, we all knew it was coming, but if you actually, this is the day that it's actually like set in stone. It's happening. And I looked at the event chart. I pulled the event chart up for this particular event, when the symbolic event of him announcing his candidacy. And Donald Trump has to have employed an astrologer. It's too perfect. The way that the chart's set up, it's perfect. Yeah. Like here, I'll even show you this right now. So I'll go ahead and screen share real fast. So check this out. Yeah, this is the event. Okay, so this is the event chart for Donald Trump announcing his candidacy. So that's June 18th, 2009 at 7 p.m. So we've got the chart ruler. So the chart ruler is Jupiter, and it's in the first house in Sagittarius. So not only is it in domicile, but the chart ruler is in an angular house. And the first
is that
house.
On 18, is that on 18 degrees on the 18th?
Actually, it is. The 18th degree, actually, in symbolic degrees, and not Sabian symbols, but like the degrees that Stojanovic uses, the 18th degree is considered to be like the evil degree. So I don't know how you really feel about Donald Trump, but that in itself says something to me.
Well, you got two 18s. I mean, you got Saturn and Jupiter, 18 degrees.
That's true.
You've got, is that Mercury and Mars?
That's actually
what's they both conjunct on the 21st degree.
Yeah, what's actually interesting about this though is Mercury is ruling the 10th house, and it's conjunct Mars, the main malefic, in the 8th house. And that's really auspicious to me. So, like, when you're trying to pick out the event for a certain date, you're using astrology, you're trying to pick out the date that is, I mean, usually you're kind of limited in what date you're picking. And the fact that Mars is conjunct Mercury, Mars is the main malefic, Mars is already debilitated because it's in Cancer, and it's the ruler of the 10th house. I mean, it's pretty apparent, like, if it doesn't work, if this doesn't work, it's going to kill his career. I mean, it's kind of a do or die scenario, but luckily, we've got another benefic, Venus, sitting in the 7th house along with the sun. It's a day chart, so the sun's really important. The 7th house is about partnerships. It's about legal matters. There's a lot of things going on with Donald Trump with accusations being made against him, and that's just been a common theme throughout his entire presidency and legal presidency.
It's nothing new.
That's nothing new, but it's been official.
Collusion.
It's been official. So I find it really, really ominous. Though overall it is a very well put together. It's a very good, a well-timed chart. Like Saturn, it's in the 2nd house. That has to do with finances and values, but probably more finances in this case. And the amount of money it takes to run a campaign is absolutely incredible. Saturn's constructive in a day chart. So I don't know. I thought that was really, really, really auspicious.
Neptune's on 18 degrees too.
Yeah, there's a lot of 18 degrees. This campaign's evil. We've already come.
And there's two 21s and a 12. I mean, I literally went insane when I was for about a month when I was in prison.
You're looking at synchronicity between numbers?
Oh my God. I can't even get into that. Like, this as far as I'll go is I notice numbers.
That's a big thing with tarot.
It does help out with tarot, and I try not to get past that because, man, I will go fucking nuts. Like the number 23, man. I'm all about the number 23, but like, I had people scared. Like, I got in a couple of fights, and people were more scared when I went insane doing the numerology shit.
Actually, did you want to pull a couple cards for Donald Trump just to show how his campaign's going to go?
Let's do it.
I think this is going to get kind of cool.
I've got 6 decks. I'm going to go.
And for those who don't know, I will be putting timestamps down at the bottom as we shuffle through different subjects, so you can, easily go from one subject to the next if our little bullshit banter gets a little boring for y'all guys.
Yes. But we're not boring because we're sexy.
We are. Damn right we're sexy. I'm not even gonna try to downplay that.
You can't.
Yeah, so I don't know, do your thing with your tarot. I fuck with tarot quite a bit, but I'm not very proficient at it. I'm just kind of like a little bit of a student. It's a side hobby more than anything.
Well, you just got the Hermetic deck, right?
I did get the Hermetic deck. I actually have it right here.
And you like it? Fuck yeah, dude. That's a really intense deck for a black and white deck. For a colorless deck, man,
I just like the symbolism, like the Kabbalistic symbols, and the fact that there's they put a lot of astrological placements. There's a lot of astrological symbolism that's actually listed on the card, and because I already know so much about astrology, that's my forte. then it makes it a lot, it makes it easier for me to grasp.
Right.
So yeah, the Hermetic deck, if you spent more time studying astrology and you want to switch over to tarot, the Hermetic deck is considered a very serious deck. It's not one that's as easy to grasp, but if you already know a lot about astrology, going over into the Hermetic deck is a little bit easier of a transition. It's like the lube to your, tarot sex fest.
Ooh, woo woo.
So what's going on with Donald Trump?
All right, what's going on? What kind of question you going to ask the cards?
So what's the general energy of like his campaign? How's the campaign gonna go? Can you see an outcome?
All right, well, like I said, I'm not going to claim to tell the future, but
You're just reading the cards.
I'm reading cards. I'm going to get a message, and I'm going to read it. Now, each of these cards does have an astrological significance. I do have a cheat sheet in front of me because there's 78 cards in this deck, and to remember every one, I've got a couple of decks that actually have.
You're using the Rider-Waite, aren't you?
I'm using the Rider-Waite. It's the more recognized. I went ahead and decided to do that. It's the more recognizable. Oh, look at the sun. That's on the bottom of the deck. That's not a card I pulled, but it is significant that I did show it. So obviously the sun, there is like good thing. I would say there's good things. Like it was a good decision. I would say in regards to the date that they selected, it was a good decision. And outside of astrology, that would be significant. So I'll just show you a couple of my other decks. I've got there's the Thoth deck, or the Thoth, or the Thoth, and it does have, and this is Aleister Crowley's version.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
And they do have this. They similar to the Hermetic. They've got the symbols on there, which is easier to read astrologically. And I've also got this Manara deck. It's an erotic deck. So
yeah.
If you're easily offended, but if you'll notice, look at that.
Yep, Saturn and Taurus.
Saturn and Taurus. It tells us right there. So if you're easily offended, you're probably not going to be watching this in the first place. So I've shuffled the cards.
Yeah, AT Astro is not about. Yeah, I'm not really. That's the whole thing about this channel is I really don't enjoy sugarcoating stuff, and if I couldn't say it to you in a regular conversation, then if I could say it to you in a regular conversation, I'm going to say it on here. So fuck it.
Well, I pulled the King of Pentacles.
I know a little bit about what the card means.
I mean, I don't think I really need to say much about the King of Pentacles.
Well, for those who don't know, they might want a little bit of a.
But I will say, so the King of Pentacles, it's a Taurus card, and Donald Trump is a Taurus.
No, he's not. He's a Gemini.
Oh, he's a Gemini?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He is Gemini. Who's Taurus?
Gemini Sun conjunct Uranus in the 10th house.
Okay. So, ambition. This is ambition, success, just business sense. This is about business sense. It's the King of Coin.
Well, I mean, it's Donald Trump.
So, yeah, there couldn't be a more fitting card that I pulled. So I think this is significant to Donald Trump's. Maybe he's been using astrology this whole time that he's been successful in business. He's applied astrology. He's in the way. I watched his first campaign a little bit, and he does, like, he's very businesslike, and that's what makes him stand out as a president. He's not a politician. He's a businessman, and going about this in a business-like sense.
That's exactly the type of energy that the King of Pentacles would imply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is like he's all business about this and applying. There's no doubt that he's added. Like I believe it. I know you believe it. Like he's got an astrologer working for him.
There's a possibility. Reagan was famous for doing it, and it's well known. And Reagan used it to actually great effect. A really cool thing about Reagan in particular is he actually had an astrologer pick a date to when he was to go up on his the presidential debate against Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And the astrologer that actually picked the date, it was interesting because she set the date in a period of time that wasn't necessarily favorable for Reagan, but was actually more of just unfavorable for Carter. She set
Right.
it up, yeah, she set it up so that the transits that were implied by that date were just very negative for Carter.
So, didn't Nancy consult the astrologer when they made diplomatic trips overseas and whatnot?
Yeah, any type of like diplomatic reach out to any other country, like whenever she met Gorbachev, or whenever they met Gorbachev. She also used it for his inauguration. She used it to plan the date of the inauguration. They used it for a lot of stuff. And Ronald Reagan had a very, I mean, there was a lot of controversy that went on during his presidency, but he basically navigated everything with stride. Like the Oliver North trial, the Oliver North deal, like he basically committed treason.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
There was no basically.
Yeah, it's treason. The Iran-Contra deal. So, I mean, and Nancy Reagan was, is well known for using an astrologer, and just the fact that his presidency ran as smooth as it did is just mind blowing. Why didn't every president do it? Why didn't George W. Bush consult an astrologer before fucking starting Operation Iraqi Freedom?
You want to get into the George W. Bush?
Dude, I got a lot to say about George W. Bush, especially from an astrological perspective. That fucking son of
You mean to pull a card for George W. Bush?
No, we're doing Donald Trump.
Okay.
George W. Bush will be dead soon anyway, hopefully.
All right, so how is Donald Trump's campaign? How's he going to navigate his campaign?
How's it going to go? How's it going to work? How is it going to go for him? Is he going to be is he going to fucking dominate? Is there going to be like, a bunch of opposition, or is the opposition going to be really strong? What's the outcome of the whole campaign? Like, what the fuck is going to go? What is going on with this? Because I say this because this is really important, because the United States is experiencing its Pluto return, which is highly significant. In 2020, which is the next president will be taking office then, or that's when the next election will take place. So there's a potential for a lot of issues. This could be a very contentious election.
So here, I pulled the Eight of Swords. Now, what I'm getting from this, the role his campaign, he's gonna play the victim. Because if you'll notice here, she's tied and bound, right? She's surrounded by all these swords. This is a very introspective card, though, because in the Eight of Swords, you'll notice she's the only figure in the card, okay? And she's got water and earth about her, and then of course swords represent air, thoughts, ideas. I see it as defensive, playing the victim role. He's gonna wait for the other candidate to attack, and then he's gonna strike on that, because in this she's by herself, right? And she's loosely bound, but if you think about it, all she's got to do is she's got all those fucking swords behind her. All she's got to do is back up and like rub up and down on a sword, and she's able to get out of there. She's home free. There's nobody watching her. All she's got to do is make the move.
But she's not doing it.
Right.
Because it's easier for her to be the damsel in distress.
It's she wants somebody else to come and rescue her. So it's very introspective. Usually this would, dictate somebody trapped inside their own thoughts. Interpreted in this, it would be definitely playing the victim. It works out for him. Throwing holes in conspiracies against him, or the accusations with the Russian collusion, because I have no doubt that
It makes a lot of sense that he's going to do the whole, well, the Democrats have thrown this accusation at me and this accusation and this accusation, and they're just attacking me and it's all wrong. And that would definitely fall very close into a tactic that he's used before. Well, I would say he was a lot more aggressive in his last campaign. He was a lot more on the attack, but this change in tactics, it would definitely coincide with what he's been known for doing over the past at least year.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you see anything, any type of outcome for this? What do you feel like the outcome is going to be?
Outcome.
Now, I know a Uranian astrologer who will sit there and give you like this is what's going to happen. She does not like Donald Trump. She's very vocal about it, and she was going through her little fourth harmonic dial charts, and she was like, "Oh my God." I remember having that discussion with her back in the day.
So I pulled Temperance in reverse. So the outcome.
Let's say, do you think he's going to win or he's going to lose?
I'd say, I'd say he's going to win. I mean, if it's upright, it would be balancing out. So I would see more of a favor for his, like, balancing out in a political campaign would mean that the other person would ultimately triumph. I'm not seeing that here.
Unbalance, disharmony.
But there's aspiration. There's aspiration and depth when this is reversed. There's no balance. Like, balance would mean, to me, balance would mean that the other candidate would come through. That's how I see it. So outcome, I see no change of powers, nothing, because let me flip it around. I'm trying to look at it mirrored.
Temperance would be the scales getting so far set even, but lack of it would mean
Right. Lack of it would mean I think he's gonna. Let me pull a clarifier for it.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. And then what about like the implications? Like, is it gonna? Because people are worried that like him winning again, having another 4 years, could cause a bunch of shit. Because the possibility of there being an economic issue in the country, especially in the financial sector, I mean, it's becoming more and more apparent that, something like that is just around the corner. Another 2008 is not that far out of the realm of possibility. And to deny that that's even a possibility based on how the economy is doing right now is just beyond naive. I love
Right.
I love politics. I love geopolitics, but I'm not really opinionated. I like to straddle the fence. But
right. So now I pulled the Knight of Swords reversed. This is the Knight. So this is air again, which is not surprisingly coming up for him since he's a Gemini. Why do I think he's a Taurus? Who's a Taurus? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So this is action. This would normally be a yes. This is still ambitious. Optimistic. Like, this is still optimistic in reverse. For him, I see him being triumphant because I see the Knight of Swords like as the guy who's running into battle. He's like the fucking I can't think of the old show, but it's like the guy, the troop that's going into battle, but he's like got his helmet all clanking all over the place, and he's like running into his actual like his own barrage of troops instead of the enemy. He's just so damn excited he's going into battle. He's not putting much thought into it. When I see this reversed, I see a little more. I see more thought into it. There's still action, but he's actually taking a little more control over it. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
That's.
Do you think there's going to be any kind of implications as a result of him winning again? Any type
implications? I can tell you without the cards, there's going to be implications.
Shit, it's the president of the most powerful country on the face of the earth and one of the most controversial presidents in United States history. I honestly feel kind of grateful that I'm alive through all this. It's not whether you whether you love or you hate Donald Trump, just the whole his rise to power. That's just a sight to behold.
I mean, honestly, Donald Trump is America. Like, symbolically, the president really, I mean, look to Congress when you want to.
He represents America at its core, but he represents both the good side of America at its core, but also the bad side. Everything that's wrong with American culture is.
Well, if you talk to anybody that lives outside of this country, they see America as stuck up, rich assholes. What is Donald Trump?
Well,
he's the physical embodiment. People see us.
Yeah.
As far as implications go, this will. No, this is a card of joy right here. Celebration, like there will be celebration.
Oh no. He's going to do something good, and so now all of a sudden all the ambivalent feelings about him. No, I don't even want to go there. I don't like feeling wrong about somebody. I don't.
Well, remember, he's playing the victim.
There's obviously a lot of celebration in terms of from his side. I mean,
okay, and now these two are making a little more sense to me now when we start looking back. There will be joy. So I think he's gonna go he's gonna come from behind. I mean, kind of like he did in the first campaign. You know, everybody was favoring Hillary, or the polls were anyway. So it looks, I mean, like these are reversed. So it looks like, oh shit, what's going on? Everything's upside down. But then all of a sudden, we got victory. We got celebration. If that makes any sense. I don't know.
No, I understand.
If the words are coming out like my mind,
it's gonna be like the whole, oh shit, he did it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
odds are gonna be against him. He's gonna be playing the victim. And
it's gonna be like CNN and MSNBC the night that Donald Trump got declared the victor in 2016, where they're just like, I don't even know what to say right now.
We have all this Hillary Clinton shit up. We didn't know.
Yeah. So, all right. So Donald Trump. I have my own predictions about what's going to happen to the United States of America. I mean, I feel like we could have gone a little bit more in depth with. We can actually do that in a little bit if we have a little bit more time at the end. Yeah. I had to bring this up because whenever I told you your reaction was just, it was like somebody stabbed you in the heart. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, it's gonna make my fucking Cancerian ass cry.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine just got diagnosed with throat cancer, and that's sad because I grew up with Megadeth.
Dude.
I mean, I love heavy music. I love punk rock. I love metalcore. I love just old school thrash metal, regular heavy metal. Every fucking little subgenre you can throw, I fucking listen to. But Megadeth, I fucking grew up with that shit. They had fucking Megadeth songs on Guitar Hero.
He sells, but who's buying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a fucking the song or an album. I forgot which.
Yeah.
Both.
What?
Was that a song or an album?
That was a song and an album.
Okay, that's why you said yeah. You're like yeah. I was trying to get the anyway. But yeah. Yeah, and he had such an interesting history. Like Dave Mustaine, he got fired. Yeah, he got kicked out of the band. He got kicked out of Metallica early on, and he basically like he was so hurt and crushed by this, he decided that he was going to devote his life to basically getting back at Metallica by becoming the badass that he is.
Fuck
So
Metallica.
let's look at Dave Mustaine's chart. And what's so heartbreaking about I have his chart pulled up. So the thing about there it is, Dave Mustaine. So the thing about Dave Mustaine is it's throat cancer. Like he's heavy metal. Like he screams, they scream, they growl. He sings through his throat. You were even talking about that earlier. And
Nobody can sing through their throat as long. Like it's an anomaly. How if you ever seen him live, it's just like how does he do it? Like
yeah,
it's me again.
yeah,
Man, I can't. Yeah, sorry.
So we got to check some of this shit out. So I mean, let's look at his chart a little bit. I mean, I did notice Uranus conjunct the North Node in the ninth house, but that's that's rebellion, and that's a lot of what heavy metal was, especially when he was involved with Metallica early on in the '80s. He was part of that was cutting edge music back then. And, he started down his south nodes in the southern half of the chart. He started in the audience and then worked his way out to the one on stage. And that fucking Venus and Leo, that pride, that Moon and Scorpio, the transformation through pain, getting kicked out of
that Venus and Leo.
Yeah. Getting kicked out of Metallica caused him so much pain that he transformed. I'm sure I can guarantee you that because he got kicked out for his alcoholism and all that. I'm sure that he was able to, overcome it for a while to get Megadeth up to where it needed to be. But
he was too metal for Metallica.
Damn right. But the thing about that though is there's actually a really famous it's a fairly famous interview, and they talked about it on a book that I really enjoy called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where like his whole metric of success was to actually, beat Metallica.
Yep.
And the unfortunate thing about what happened to him is he became extremely successful. Megadeth is one of the most influential metal bands of all time, but it didn't ever stack up to Metallica.
In the pop charts.
I know, but just in general, in terms of album sales, influence, and he even expressed in this interview, however, that like he felt that he had still failed because he built his whole metric, his own personal metric of success was based upon him in comparison to Metallica, Megadeth in comparison to Metallica. And he wasn't able to fully enjoy the success that he had garnered for himself because he held on to that pain of getting kicked out of Metallica for so long. That's such a Scorpio moon thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, some Scorpio moons. I have a long history with Scorpio moon as well. But yeah, we gotta fucking find out what's going on with like let's draw some cards for Dave Mustaine. Is this gonna screw up his career? Is it gonna cause his health to seriously decline? Could it kill him? I mean, what do you
I want to know how this is gonna affect. Honestly, I'll tell you right now, Chris Cornell was my number one singer-songwriter of all time. We were born on the same day, except for he was born in 1964. I was born in 1981. Dave Mustaine is now my favorite singer-songwriter.
Absolutely.
By default, and I hate that it's by default. He is so original in his own right. He took... they left this poor motherfucker. They got him fucked up and left him. They betrayed him. They didn't just fucking say, "Hey, you're out of the band." They fucking left him in a tight spot and fucking went on tour and left his ass.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Metallica because of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a lot of their music.
Yeah.
As people.
Except for everything, Master of Puppets and Forward, not a fan.
Yeah.
Not Master of Puppets. I'm sorry. No, I love that entire fucking album. I'm sorry. Battery is my favorite song was my favorite song by Metallica. I'm talking about fuck. What is that goddamn song? It came out in Enter Light Exit.
Oh, you talking about Enter Sandman?
Enter Sandman, yeah. Everything Enter Sandman on, I'm not really a big fan of when it comes.
The Don't Tread.
I mean, that might
Everybody
come
calls it the Black Album. I call it the Don't Tread on Me album because there's a fucking snake. Don't tread on me. It's the Don't Tread on Me album. There's a song on the fucking album. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on me. And being American, I know that.
No, but earlier on, like Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets.
Oh, Cemetery Gates.
Kill 'Em All, fucking Blitzkrieg.
I mean, Mustaine helped build what, like that. You start seeing Mustaine's influence gone after that.
I know, and you see it transferred over to Megadeth. That's why I love Megadeth so much, because I enjoy that raw. I don't know, there's a raw.
Megadeth, I mean, he just keeps pumping out the jams. So my biggest concern right now, because I truly love Mustaine, my first question is going to be about his health.
Well, yeah, he's obviously.
Is he gonna be able to recover from this and go on tour again? And I'm asking this selfishly because I, more than anything in this world, want to go see Megadeth more than anybody else.
Well, he's a hot commodity now because he might not ever get to play again.
Right.
I mean, throat cancer is serious. Throat cancer is not. It's not one of those easy cancers. It's not one of those ones that you just. Yeah, it's a big.
Who was it? The lead singer of Boston got throat cancer.
What's with all these singers getting throat cancer? Is singing bad for your health?
Oh, man.
That was good for you.
Well, I know all the drugs and alcohol don't help when you're, like...
Yeah, probably fucking chain smoke. He's probably chain smoked since, like, 1974.
Right. Well, didn't Adele get throat cancer?
Adele?
Yeah.
I actually haven't heard about that, no?
It's like...
Really?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
You didn't get a good feeling from what you pulled, did you? That's
I got the Three of Swords, man. This is the heartbreak card. I think the expression on my face kind of tells you how I feel about this card. And I did switch over to the Deviant Moon deck. This is one of the darker decks. Very much more macabre. But it is the deck I relate to out of all my decks.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you brought up, when you had mentioned we were doing Dave Mustaine, then yeah, I had to. So this is heartbreak. But also this is another influence. This could be indicative right now of the current situation. And I'm saying this biased. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Dave Mustaine. We've made this very vocal and clear. But I don't get a good feeling from this. I'm not saying I might get a chance to see Megadeth, but I don't know if Mustaine's going to be the front man. Maybe he'll be on the guitar though.
Megadeth.
Maybe he'll be on the guitar.
Hopefully, but yeah, there could be no Megadeth without Mustaine.
No,
that's his band.
So, if he can't sing, will they still be able to tour? As in, will he get up on stage and play his fucking guitar?
It was reversed.
Six of Pentacles reversed. Okay. All right. So this is a card of charity. Okay. So I'm going to show you upright. Charity. You see this wealthy man. There's a poor person underneath. He's got all these pentacles behind him. He's rich. So if I pull this upright, I would definitely see him as like passing the torch. But like there's no torch to pass if you're Dave Mustaine. I think this is shutting it down because this would be being selfish, holding it back.
Well, I mean,
And Dave Mustaine. I mean, if you know anything about Megadeth, like they've cycled through fucking band members.
yeah.
Because Dave Mustaine, like you said, Dave Mustaine is Megadeth.
Maybe, I mean, what if, because his health, I mean, if his health isn't up to par, he's not going to want to, he's not going to want to put his health at risk to go and tour. I mean, that seems like a logical thing to do.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And my idea would be, to still be on stage and have somebody else come and sing.
Yeah.
But this absolutely fits Mustaine's personality. Like, no, I'm Megadeth. I sing.
If I don't sing, then nobody sings.
Yeah. So, is this it for Megadeth? Should his throat not recover? Yeah, that would definitely be. That's the chariot reversed. So if he doesn't recover from this, and notice that I said if he doesn't recover.
Well, that's the question that a lot of us are probably wondering right now as they're watching this. Is he going to recover?
Is he going to recover?
Because throat cancer is serious, dude. And he obviously, I mean, it's obvious that he plans to start treatment immediately.
Yeah. I want to say Adele had fucking throat cancer.
Well, I got Google while you're drawing cards.
The Ace of Swords reversed. Fucking reverse cards for you, Mustaine. I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it for.
She has throat cancer.
She did have throat cancer?
Yeah, I didn't read into it, but I saw enough. I glanced enough to see Adele has throat cancer. So what do you?
This is destruction.
Clarify it. Or do you think
clarify this one?
Do you think you need to?
I want to. But you know what? Actually reading for Dave Mustaine, destruction.
The Five of Wands reversed.
I pull the Five of Wands reversed. Now, typically, if I pull this upright, this would be just straight chaos, a struggle, legal troubles even, a lot of conflict. But when I pull this in reverse, this is negotiation, working out solutions.
Buying time.
Finding an advantage to build upon. So maybe I'm thinking this is just a temporary halt after pulling this card, honestly.
But it's obviously going to have a very big impact on his health.
It is going to have a big impact on his health, and maybe because they did just shut down a tour, right?
I'm not sure about that.
I think they were due to tour if they weren't touring already.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be completely honest.
So this could really just be indicative of taking a break. I really like that you asked me to pull a clarifier.
Yeah, because the first one basically is kind of.
I was scared to keep fucking pulling cards, but then when I see chaos with the Ace of Swords, this is fucking Dave Mustaine's strength. Like he came out of Metallica and fucking did something a million times better than Metallica.
That's subjective, but yeah. I mean, I like Metallica.
Subjective to fucking assholes.
People who really appreciate heavy music and metal will always hold Megadeth, for the most part, above Metallica. But in terms of the broader perspective, Metallica was far more influential.
Well, you got Metallica's got fans that don't listen to metal.
Yeah. Megadeth. If you like metal, you like Megadeth.
If you like metal, I mean, there's Megadeth, there's Maiden, there's Black Sabbath,
Slayer.
if you don't have Black Sabbath and Judas Priest on your playlist, you can skip my fucking house. But
Damn
Slayer,
right.
Anthrax, I don't know if I'm
War.
saying Amarath or the
yeah, I know you're talking.
Amarath.
Amarath, yeah. Yeah, Pantera.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, we're Texas
Vinnie
boys,
Paul
so I mean,
fucking,
we're Texas boys, so we basically, you know.
Who would have thought Phil Anselmo would be the fucking surviving member of Pantera?
Who? Who was one?
Phil Anselmo, the lead singer.
I haven't been keeping up with them all that much.
Like, how is he the only
I know
one
what happened
living?
to fucking Dimebag, but
yeah, Vinnie Paul passed away last year. Heart attack. But yeah, Phil Anselmo, he's the one he's the reason they fucking broke up, because his goddamn heroin addiction. And
that's a band killer right there.
Like
heroin killed Sublime. It killed fucking Alice in Chains.
Hilo Slavic of the original guitar player for Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep.
Kurt Cobain killed himself.
But he had a heroin addiction, but I don't think that. I don't know if opiate withdrawal actually caused that. There's so much. Dude,
read a biography on Kurt Cobain. It's a miracle that
I did while I was incarcerated.
That guy was not a serial killer, right?
Dude, he used to just draw vaginas all over the walls of his house, or all just.
Yeah, he had fucking in his first girlfriend's house. They had hundreds of the dolls with the heads ripped off of them, just scattered about all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes. What the fuck?
So,
Pisces, man.
Poor Dave Mustaine. We'll watch the situation play out. Hopefully he'll be okay. I'm rooting for him, obviously. I know you are too. We do have another fucking awesome topic coming up right now.
Can't wait.
Cryptocurrency. I actually just dumped a couple $1,000s in Bitcoin just because of a lot of the news that's been coming out, and things are trending upward right now with Bitcoin. But it's not really Bitcoin that's causing the news. Well, Bitcoin surged like crazy over the past week. It went from 7,000 all the way up to like 9,000 just over the week per coin, and it's actually gone up from like 3,000 a couple months ago. So that's a pretty big hike. That's, it's tripled in value. But what's interesting right now is Facebook has just announced. Actually, there was a lot of secrecy surrounding it. They didn't know if they were going to actually roll it out in full today or if they were going to do it in 2020. But today they came out with the white sheets. Well, today, the 18th of June. So they came out with the white sheet, all of the intentions and the way that it operates of their own cryptocurrency called Libra coin. And what's interesting about Libra coin is initially people expected it to try to compete with Bitcoin, but no, that's not it at all. Libra coin is going to act as an intermediate between Bitcoin and regular traditional fiat currency, the dollar, the yen, the euro. And it's going to be known as what's called a stable coin. So it'll be a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, but it will not have the same volatility as Bitcoin because Facebook will be able to regulate how much is available, how many coins are available to purchase. Bitcoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin, there's a certain amount of Bitcoins and it will never change. And so the value of those Bitcoins, it'll, fluctuate wildly depending on market trends at the time. So what it's going to do, in my personal opinion, and this ties into astrology. I'll get there in a moment. I know it's starting to get rather verbose and long-winded, but you're like finances, huh? What? So basically, like what it's gonna do is, if Facebook has its own fucking currency, Facebook has 2.3 fucking billion people. 2.3 billion people that all of a sudden will have a way to easily access Bitcoin or we'll have a way to easily transfer Bitcoin to dollars. People in other countries who have highly unstable currencies, they'll be able to very quickly transfer. They'll be able to get paid on one day, and then before their money loses its value, the next day, like in Venezuela, they'll be able to put it in, Libra coin, and then they'll be able to put it in Bitcoin to trade it, or they'll be able to put it into another currency, whatever they want to do. And what it's going to do is it's going to cause the proliferation of Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, the market for Bitcoin will just expand tremendously, and it'll drive up the value of Bitcoin, and it'll make it a lot more viable and a lot more stable and a lot more valuable. Like, we're talking about the potential for Bitcoin to go up to like $100,000 per coin, and then possibly one day, people are like serious like engineers and financial analysis. Sorry, I'm having word vomit right now, but like financial statisticians and financial advisors, there are people that are seriously predicting that there could be a day not too far in the future that Bitcoin's worth $10 million a coin. That's possible.
That is fucking insane.
Exactly. And so, like, buying in now, not necessarily, you don't need to buy in a whole lot.
$10 million right here.
I mean, it's not an actual coin, though. It's all electronic.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's
crazy.
Like even less. It's even more fake than paper currency, right? Because it's electronic, but
well, it can't be tampered with and manipulated by bureaucrats.
But the people who control Bitcoin can.
No, they cannot. There is an algorithm, and it cannot change.
The algorithm can never change.
Never.
Except for the value of the coin.
The value of the coin is influenced directly by demand. The only way that Bitcoin could ever die is if demand disappears. But since Bitcoin is actually viable and it holds its value consistently, and it has done so for the past decade, I mean, it's changed its value, but it's consistently rose, it will never die. So you can look at it in terms of like transits.
Yeah.
You see that Uranus is moving into Taurus right now, and every single time that Uranus moves into Taurus, we have massive changes with how we handle our money, with how we our possessions, and banks are scared.
Isn't there something going on or coming up in Aquarius too?
Saturn will enter Aquarius by the end of 2020, but that is part of a whole big. So when Saturn entered Capricorn in the end of 2017, it starts a 5-year cycle because Capricorn and Aquarius both rule Saturn.
Right.
So, or Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So that whole 5-year period is very significant because whenever Saturn goes through Capricorn, it does the destructive bullshit, or it starts tearing down old things that aren't built on a stable foundation. And then when it goes to Aquarius, the rebuilding begins. And the new way of thinking, the new futuristic, better, I don't want to say futuristic, but the new progressive ways of thinking get kind of stabilized and set in stone. This is all, it's all classic. The Great Depression, we had the same similar set of transits. Saturn entered Capricorn right before the stock market crashed. And then a couple years later, Uranus entered Taurus. And whenever Uranus enters Taurus, there's this restructuring to the financial systems. And the fact that it's happening in the same way that it did during the Great Depression is really interesting to me as well. But when Uranus entered Taurus back in 1934, the Glass-Steagall Act, the New Deal, Social Security, the Social Security system was set up. All of these systems that were meant to, that had to do with our shared values and our relation to finances, it became all of a sudden very relevant. And then you're getting bored.
I'm not getting bored.
Don't you get bored on me, buddy?
I'm not getting bored. I'm thinking social, this is really blowing my, because Social Security, look what Social Security's become.
All right. So in the previous cycle, before the Great Depression, when Uranus entered Taurus, it was during the early 1850s, during the California Gold Rush. And then when our changes in attitude regarding our values in terms of slavery, the abolition movement was in. the way that we dealt with agricultural processing. We were trying to figure out a way to wean ourselves off of being so dependent on cotton, or at least the South was. The South was in a big quandary over that. That's a lot of what kept slavery in place for so long. But every single time that Uranus comes into, every time Uranus comes into Taurus, there's always a big shift in that sector of life. So I'm very excited. And then you take that and then you put that on top of the sheer fact that Pluto and Saturn are both in Capricorn, and then the United States is going to have its Pluto return, which is usually a huge transformation for the nation. That rhymed.
Transformation for the nation. Hey, that's a topic for a podcast right there.
Hey, wait, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. All right, so the combined effects of these, like the financial sector runs the country. I mean, all the issues we had in 2008, those were all linked to the financial sector.
We're capitalistic government. That we are built on capitalism.
Yeah, we're talking about a huge shift in finances for the country, like income redistribution. Banks are scared shitless by Libra coin, because not only is Libra coin going to make Bitcoin more viable, but they'll take money out of the hands of Rothschild and fucking everybody who's involved at the very highest level of the multinational banks that are centered in the United States. They are all of a sudden going to lose a lot of their influence, because people are going to have another option to go outside of fiat currency. There's the amount of money, and if anything ever see, this is the biggest thing. If anything ever happens within the financial sector, then people are going to immediately liquidate their assets and transfer it over to Bitcoin.
Oh, absolutely.
It works almost like a hedge fund against, it's an insurance policy. It's an option.
Fuck the banks. I mean, here's the deal. Like most of Bank of America isn't even owned by America, like an American company.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to go any further into that explanation. But banks are fucking us. They've been fucking us for years. They're not really fucking us. They're just, pleasuring themselves, and we're getting fucked. They're getting pleasured. The system's set up so that being poor is very, very expensive, and if you have money, then you can easily make more money. Man, you know what? That just triggered something like a trigger. All right, so Andrew Jackson was actually the last president who tried to get us out of the central banking, whatever.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. He tried to prevent there being a national or a federal, like the Federal Reserve didn't actually come into existence until 1913.
Right.
The U.S. there's kind of this general consensus within the upper echelons of the U.S. government that having a central bank would create a system where like a cartel of bankers could literally control the government financially.
Yeah.
And there are many people that believe that that is the case today. And on top of that, with the way things have been mismanaged for so long, there is more debt in the world than there is actual currency to ever pay for it. Like there's like almost $100 trillion in feasible currency right now, in fiat currency, and then there's like 300 trillion in debt.
Well, when the central bank creates interest, that's debt you can never ever pay off.
Yes.
You can never ever pay it off. So I mean, it was brilliant. Like it's a brilliant scheme.
Oh yeah, the beast from Jekyll
into it is. I mean, obviously there were hands and pockets in the right places.
There was a book. Well, first of all, what I actually would like to see happen, what I think would be really cool, is to do like an outlook reading for the United States economy for the next 2 years, this year and next year. But that's what I'm going to get at. But there is a book that was written. I forgot the name of the author, but it's called The Beast from Jekyll Island, I believe. And it was about how there was a set of lobbyists. In fact, there were members of the Rothschild family involved in this. They all got together at a resort in North Carolina on this island called Jekyll Island, and they basically drew up the Federal Reserve Act. They drew it up in a way that benefited them For every single dollar that is printed by the U.S. government, it generates a certain small percentage of debt. But it's insane. We could go in. I could go into it forever, but
yeah. Oh no, yeah, it's there. I mean,
I want to find out what's happening with the economy. We're going to go broad. I mean, there is actually a whole subset of tarot that's pertaining specifically to, finances. I mean, do you know about that?
the tarot.
Like, I was told about it earlier today. Like, there's a whole subset of tarot that's like specifically devoted to finances, financial matters, stocks.
You have each card each card is representative of particular jobs. There's also, there's finances. There's different spreads. I know there's certain spreads. Are you talking about like a particular tarot deck?
No, I think there's like a particular style of reading. We'll get a chance to go into it. In fact, eventually,
okay.
eventually.
There's ways in it, and it's usually like I think I know what you're talking. It's like typically built around spreads, like what spread. If you'll notice, I tend not to pull in spreads. I pull as
It's an intuitive kind of your pull.
One of my muses has enlightened me with is my muse. She's enlightened me that me and her both pull very similar. And this is before we knew each other, but what we call chaotic pulling. We don't pull in particular spreads where there would be like placements. So like there's the Celtic cross spread. There's the full moon spread.
I don't think any serious tarot card reader actually uses the Celtic cross spread. I rarely see it. I never see it.
It's some people, and I'll never take any credit away from it because I've seen some people pull like incredible divinations from Celtic cross spreads along with many other spreads, and it's very specific to me. I'm always going to get. I don't always get the answers that I'm asking the questions about, but I get the message that I'm supposed to receive.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So what we're gonna do, we'll pull on Bitcoin, the success of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And what next? Let's give it a time frame because when we're doing finances.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency. We'll talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin, and then let's talk about like just the U.S. economy as a whole.
Okay.
If you want, if you're up for it, are you up for it? Are you man enough for this?
You gonna see You want to see what my stomach says?
Yeah, I know, badass. No.
I gotta pay extra for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get yelled at for being so loud. All right. What's going on?
All right. So, am I asking about the U.S. economy?
Bitcoin or the economy, whichever one you want to do first, or whichever one you do.
Since you started with Bitcoin, let's go with Bitcoin. I'm gonna do a relationship spread, like a love relationship spread. Like
between who?
Between Bitcoin and U.S. currency.
Oh yeah, okay. Between Bitcoin and what?
U.S. currency.
Okay, go for it.
This is experimental, so bear with me. But I'm kind of excited about it because as a Cancerian, I love love.
Who doesn't love love? I don't really love love right now. Love doesn't love me.
Capricorns? I don't know. It's all business, right?
Sort of.
All right. So the first card I'm gonna pull is gonna be what's representative. What would be the signifier for U.S. economy? U.S. currency. U.S. currency.
Or the U.S. economy in general, yeah.
Yeah.
U.S. currency is stable because the United States can just print more.
Oh, all right. So pull the Ten of Cups reversed.
That's ominous.
Ten of Cups. I mean, that's like the ideal. Like here's the family. You got the rainbow, you got all the cups, you can see everything. You got the little house on the hill, you got the river that runs through it. He's very happy. So, 10 of Cups. This would be, I would say, the ending of a cycle. I mean, tens represent an end of a cycle. This is almost chaotic. I mean, really, it's not almost chaotic. It's chaotic when you have the 10 cups, because everything you've filled these cups up with now is upside down and spilling. So, I mean, think about the stock market crash. People were jumping out of buildings, killing themselves.
Well, think about what'll happen if the U.S. economy destabilizes whatsoever. Like, let's say, stocks start to crash again. People are going to start transferring from U.S. currency over to, they're going to transfer over to Bitcoin, or they're going to take their stocks and liquidate them and put them into Bitcoin, because, it's still investment's an investment. They're still going to want to have their money make money. The thing about the U.S. dollar or any fiat currency is it will intrinsically lose value over time, but Bitcoin will not. And so investors are going to, instead of just selling their stocks and liquidating them into cash, they're going to liquidate them into Bitcoin.
Well, this is the U.S. currency. I mean, this is U.S. currency. This is what I pulled for U.S. currency.
Yeah, that could be value the U.S. currency even more so.
I mean, that is absolute, just like, that's hard times, like in the family. Like that's when everybody goes broke. You get evicted from your fucking, your mansion, and you've lived off of your dad's trust fund your whole life, and now your dad's going to prison because he was caught embezzling money, and you don't know what the fuck to do. Imagine Daenerys Targaryen if you're a Game of Thrones fan.
I'm not, but okay.
Except for without having somebody protect you out on the streets.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull the next one for Bitcoin. Or we're doing, what is it? Cyber
cryptocurrency, but more than likely, all the alt currencies, all the alternate cryptocurrencies, they're all kind of crashing and burning, and people are selling off and going straight to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's
going to buy them up anyway.
They're not going to buy them up. They're just going to stop functioning. Bitcoin doesn't operate like a company. They don't buy shit. But what's going to happen is all those altcoins, they've been crashing lately. Like, they've been showing consistent losses, and so they're going to just shift all over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to take a larger share of the cryptocurrency market. Now, you already see that happening. That makes me.
This is the Lovers reversed. All right.
What is that like?
Division, conflict. This is like a divorce. I mean, the Lovers would be like a union. What's here is a divine presence between two opposing forces. You have a female and a male, and there's a union.
That's disunion. Okay, so that's kind of vague.
Like
I feel
divorce.
That's kind of vague.
What I would see, this would be causing separation. Conflict. This is definitely conflict. This is causing conflict.
Well, there has been pushes in the past. I mean, it's never gained enough attention, but there has been not attempts. That would imply that there are a lot of people involved in the government in it, but there have been calls before in the past to try to ban cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It has not worked because of cryptocurrency's intrinsic value, but
yeah, this is conflict. This is going against what's held people down. This is holding people down. Like the American currency, and not just American currency, but
the financial system.
The financial system holds the rich, and it keeps the poor.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you can take $100 and you can put it in the bank $100 US, and the next year, even day by day by day, it's going to lose value always. It's always going to be worth less. There's no way to win. The only way to win is to take your money and invest it in something else, and you can only do that if you already have a lot of money to begin with. It becomes a game that you can only play if you're wealthy to start off with.
Right.
Or if you're a fucking genius.
What I'm gonna pull now is how cryptocurrency will affect, or what will be the outcome of cryptocurrency. How's that?
We know well, okay, but I know what the outcome is going to be with cryptocurrency, but all right.
Let's see if the cards confirm. Four of Swords. This is rest. This is mental rest. This is a peaceful rest.
Sounds like just business as usual.
Yeah. Like, this is like carefree. This is a peaceful rest. This is not like I'm worn the fuck out. I can't take this anymore. It's not like the Nine of Swords where you're dealing with anxiety. Like this is all elements are in balance. This is
positive.
It's positive, very positive.
You want to pull another one for that one?
Yeah.
Tie it in a little bit better.
Let's do it. So. Ooh. All right. So what I've done, I pulled the Four of Swords, the Six of Swords. So, but I pulled it in reverse. Now, the Six of Swords upright. This is there's a woman and a child, and there's a boatman. You see that she's protected by the swords in front of her. It's like she has all these new like the water's calm. You notice back here where they're coming from, it's rough water, more rough waters, but not too rough. It's still, but there's some emotional shit going on. This is a very watery card.
But it's going into clear water.
What's up?
It's going into clear water.
It's going into clear, still water. It's like escaping a bad situation.
That's Bitcoin losing its volatility.
But I've got it reversed.
Oh.
So this would be like inability to move, which still it's like being stuck in that sleep. Does that make sense? All right, so this is leaving a bad circumstance.
Yeah.
But this is how Bitcoin's going to affect the U.S. currency, right? So I'm seeing this as the U.S. currency not being able to escape this, if that makes sense.
We've all known this.
Yeah.
This is like the internet and how the internet kind of. No, this is kind of like what Netflix did to Blockbuster, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. I'm a Blockbuster kid. Actually, I had a video one probably like a 2-minute walk from my house right down there.
Oh yeah, I used to love Blockbuster until I found out that I didn't have to pay shit for movies anymore. Or I didn't have to pay fucking $7 to get a game that I could only play overnight.
Exactly. What's funny is I had my old telephone was one digit away from the video one number, You have any idea how many people would call me and reserve movies or games? I'd be like, "Yep, got it. What's your name? Check."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And trivial, stupid, but that's probably all the bad karma that caught up with me was just stupid.
Man, I remember actually going to like shopping at different because they had Hollywood Video and they had fucking Blockbuster and then the little fucking hole in the wall video stores. And I remember I'd be looking for a game, a specific game, and one place wouldn't have it. I go to the next place and go to the next place, go to the next place. And now you can just fucking pirate that shit, or it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird how much life has changed just since I was a kid in terms of media and stuff. It's interesting. Okay, so kind of hazy on what's going to go down with cryptocurrency, but we know that the U.S. dollar is in trouble, but we could have already said that. I mean, the U.S. dollar is always probably going to be important, but in terms of its supremacy, I doubt that it's going to maintain that level.
No, it's been on a downfall for a long time. I mean, how many trillions of dollars are we in debt?
Yeah.
No way we'll ever come out of it as a nation.
Yeah. So there was something that I was really interested in doing a prediction on. I noticed something occurring. This is actually going to be really soon. I was telling you about this earlier. There is a very auspicious period of time occurring. There is going to be a new moon in Cancer on the 2nd. Yeah, on the 2nd of July. So right at the beginning of the month, new moon, boom. Falls in my 2nd house, which has to do with finances. Boom, new beginnings. But literally the day before that, it'll be exact, there is going to be a Taurus hammer aspect pattern, which a lot of people don't use it, but to me, I feel like it's important. Taurus hammer aspect pattern are 3 planets. It looks like you know what a yod is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a yod, and it's got 3 planets like a yod, but the 2 planets at the bottom are in square to each other. They're not sextile. It's a square, so it's a hard aspect. And then they're both making sesquiquadrates to an apex planet. And it's an aspect pattern of rebellion, of an action. And in mundane astrology, it's almost as if it's an action being taken by a group, and it doesn't receive support from the outside world. It's a action that is viewed as negative, is viewed as, I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but it's almost as if a whistleblower energy. That's really what that's what it really feels like, because we got Jupiter at the bottom, and that's legalities, that's judges, that's higher values. Then we've got Neptune, which is idealism. It's socialism and communism are ruled by Neptune. Left is socialism, the left-leaning politics. So we've got those 2 things in aspect at the bottom and square. And then Mercury at the apex is reporters, it's communication, it's the news. And so we're looking at something, obviously, somebody coming forward, something hitting the media. And then it's something that brings to light a certain truth, but it's almost as if they're going to create problems for themselves. The media is going to create problems for itself. While you're looking at me like you're going to die.
No, I'm like, this is my awe.
Well, I mean, it's mundane astrology. I love this shit. I live for this shit.
I'm doing this.
So, yeah, but there's also going to be opposition. The opposition to this aspect pattern, something involving the media, something involving it's like a whistleblower energy. It's in hard aspect. The apex is forming a square to Uranus, and it's also conjunct Mars. So we're looking at far right politics. We're looking at sudden actions. We're looking at the military. We're looking at the possibility of there being some sort of conflict. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of it, and I was hoping you could use tarot to help pull everything out.
I mean, I would say and
the Mercury retrograde will
with the Neptune aspects, with your legalities. I mean, this is
This isn't me personally. This is
right. No. Yeah, I'm not suggesting. But this is when your extremists are gonna. This is when your extremists are gonna act. This is what I mean. This is what I sense from it. So with the Mercury, like the communication, this is when they're wanting to let their ideas be known. So Neptune, I think, dreams and stuff. But like, so these people.
It's also secrets. It's also
I'm just saying like an extreme. I'm gonna use a Crusade Christian. That was some extreme shit. Those motherfuckers killed more people than.
Oh, the Crusaders? Oh yeah.
Crusaders. That was bigger than anything else. That was horrible. Horrible what they were doing to people. Even people that claimed to be Christian, they would torture them. And I mean, if you got tortured back then, you weren't living. Like, oh well, he didn't admit to it, but he was a Christian, so he's going to heaven at least. So, but this is when your extremist ideas, like, they start speaking, and people are going to listen, because it's when people not only encode messages, but they're also decoding the messages. So,
yeah. Well, it coincides with the new moon in Cancer, and the new moon in Cancer. Cancer relates to nationalism, so that's new beginnings related to nationalism, related to the sense of family, the sense of home. It almost feels like a terrorist attack. I'm not going to say, I cannot sit here and say there's going to be a terrorist attack, but some sort of action that's prompted by somebody with leftist, socialist type of ideals. They feel like they're crusading against some sort of illegal action by either our government or another government. Reporters become involved, and then the far right reacts, and it creates a whole big giant thing, like a ripple effect, because the new moon in Cancer happens right after it, almost immediately after it.
Literally, and let's not take out of consideration that any country that we're involved in with a war or direct conflict, they're also going to see us as a terrorist.
Yes. Yes, you're aware. I'm aware of that. I also do know that we just sent troops into Jordan, and then their tensions are heightening between the United States and Iran right now.
Absolutely.
So,
didn't they find a mine or something over there in the?
I'm actually not sure of all the details. I've been slacking on. I'm usually really good with geopolitics, but I'm slacking a little bit right now.
All right, so I'm going to ask the cards. I hate asking yes or no questions. Give me something.
I need a read on the energies, like the energies for this particular period of day. It's like a 2-day period.
So this period, what kind of energy are we going to see? You know what? I'm going to pull out my Thoth deck.
Is it Thoth or Thoth or?
It's Tot, tater tot.
Thoth.
I mean, it's however you want to pronounce it. I say Thoth, personally. And actually, I had a
I've heard Thoth
earlier today. Yeah, Thoth, Tot. I've heard it in every way imaginable.
Thoth. Thoth.
Thought I rocked. All right.
Thought deck.
The Thought deck, based on Egyptian divination.
Oh yeah, you're right.
With Aleister Crowley's magic with a K influence. So here we go. The energy. Let's see what kind of energy we're going to get on those days. Actually, we'll ask what energy we're going to get in the beginning of the transit. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. And we've drawn the Magician. So, it is representative of Mercury. Communication. This is when in the journey of the Fool, he comes across the Magician, and the Magician reveals to the Fool his tools. So this is very heavy communication. But the Magician, if you think about a magician, they are a master at the art of deception. So there's a cunning and deceitful energy there. So I see a big media hype happening.
That's possible. You can tell that with Mercury. You know, it rules journalists, it rules communication, it rules the media.
I see a big media hype happening, bringing the energy in. I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for...
It could just be a controversy. It could be a manufactured controversy by, the political left.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see. I stopped watching news as often. I used to watch the news all day long, and
I don't like mainstream news. I can't stand it. It all fits a political agenda, but I do check out what's going on independent news stations, especially on the internet. I mean, you can get a lot of real news from YouTube.
Well. Two of the biggest major arcana cards that you can pull. Two of the most significant cards. Can you guess what this one is? I want you to just guess.
The Wheel of Fortune. No. Death.
No.
Tower. Holy shit. The Death.
We pulled Death. This is the energy leaving those days. So Death, obviously, as tarot, people who are into tarot and read tarot, this will scare the living shit out of somebody who's never read tarot. They're like, oh my God, it's the apocalypse. Maybe it is the apocalypse. This is definitely a card of change. This will bring change. The energy leaving here. This is Scorpio.
Yeah.
This is going to have a lot of Scorpio energy. Which also goes back. Scorpios are going to love this, and people who hate Scorpios are going to love this. Deceit, secrecy, cunning, brooding.
So the Magician and Death.
And then Death. Death is the representative of the Scorpio zodiac. Water. I mean, water is change. You'll see a big wave. There's going to be a big fucking change. There will be a huge change. There's going to be a big change. It might be death. There might be some death. There might be some attacks. Like, honest to God, I don't want to speak that into existence. And it's always a possibility, but
It's pretty. I mean, I saw something really ominous. I mean, we're talking about possible, like, political radicals. I mean, we're talking about possibly there being some sort of demonstration done by one particular political group and it gets attacked by another. Where you could see the possibility of war with Iran, potentially.
yeah.
That's highly feasible.
Oh, definitely. That's been in the makings for years. Just years. I mean, since Reagan's administration.
I mean, it can mean multiple things. I don't want to sit there and say, but it's definitely something to watch out for. Something that very prophetic.
Yeah. I'm going to pull one more to see if I can get a clarifier on maybe some events that's going to take place, causing this change, going from this is almost like the magician's trick, like the whole idea of going and seeing a magician, he shows you all, shows you his hat, he shows you his dove, and, he like opens up his coat, he's like, there's nothing in here, he shows the sleeves, there's nothing in there, you don't see anything. And then
you die.
And then you die.
Oh my God. It almost sounds like a big giant hype up over what's going on in Iran, and almost like there's a big giant movement to, cool off tensions between the two countries. And then at the last minute, a lot of the more, war hawk type, what's that?
That, my friend, is the Six of Cups.
I don't know a lot about the card. Pleasure?
The word that Code Gibbets, the word that Crowley defines it as is pleasure.
Well, Crowley defines it as pleasure, and you know
notice these, like, you have the cup on the top, and it's like the cup overfloweth. So sixes, fives we recognize as chaos. Sixes we recognize, we see as the calm after the storm.
Okay.
So like this is not like your lustful type of pleasure. This would be a time of calmness. So imagine a tornado has just gone through town, and it's done. So the tornado goes away, it disappears into the air. So all of a sudden the sky is calm, the air is calm. Yes, there's all this fucking destruction, but you're alive. So this is what I'm seeing, because of what I was asking was what's coming in between the energy of the term, the hype and the change. Is there's going to be a period of calm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're going to see this. They're going to see this chaos. They will see the chaos, and then they're going to be like, "All right, well, this is happening." Does that make sense? And then the fucking change is going to erupt. So I feel like there's a distraction here. Like I'm getting a distraction from all of this, and maybe the distraction is the media hype. I'm gonna go ahead and pull another one on that, because that's just. But pleasure, even with pleasure,
a false sense of security. It's like, okay, it's over, but it's not really over.
I mean, what happens if Iran fucking hits one of our bases with some mortars, then the people who sent the mortars off they're gonna be pleased. Ooh. So pull the Chariot. This is movement. This is action. This is about making sure also that this is the vessel of carrying.
Are we going to invade Iran?
I think so. They're at least, like, somebody's going to attack somebody over there. Or over here.
This is one of those situations where I almost hope that your predictions aren't right.
As a veteran, I hope my predictions aren't right either.
But unfortunately, tarot has creeped me out many times before.
But here's the deal. This is also the energy that the Chariot can put off. The Chariot isn't just about. I mean, it's absolutely about movement. But this is victory. Also with this, when it comes between, these are three major arcanas. This is a super crazy fucking reading. And I can't believe I'm doing this reading on such a large scale. Before you go into battle, you check to make sure all your equipment's there, So imagine a vehicle, for say, you're not going to take a Humvee out into a different country without checking the oil, checking the radiator fluid, checking the tire pressure, making sure you got, spare tires. You want to make sure you got your ammo. You want to make sure your weapons are in check. So really, this could be about, and really coming between the magician in death, this could be a time of preparation, and I really kind of see it as a time of preparation, looking at it like that. But definitely in preparation for some action that will happen, if that makes sense.
No, I completely understand. So basically, something that sparks the build-up.
Yeah. This is
Basically,
like the beginning.
It's sort of like Iraq occupying Kuwait and creating the build-up prior to Operation Desert Storm.
Exactly.
And I don't know why we're focusing specifically on warfare in the Middle East, but it's just the planets that are involved. It's super ominous.
I mean, you can't take away the fact of the current events that are happening.
Yeah, and then some of the transits for later this month, like the full moon in Cancer later on in the month is insane because we have the moon, which will be sitting on top of the South Node, Pluto, and Saturn all at the same time. Will be making an opposition to the Sun and the North Node all at once. And then simultaneously, we'll have Uranus making a hard aspect to both Mercury and Mars. This is a lot going on at one time. Like, it's really ominous in terms of transit.
There's a big eclipse happening, right?
It is an eclipse. That'll be happening later on the month.
Because I know it's like close to my birthday.
Yes, there will be a major eclipse later on this month.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot to think about. There'll be a lunar eclipse. So,
go moon, mama.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Cancer Moonchild. Yes, I see that. So, that took a dark turn.
I mean, it's the plight of the world where people have opposing ideas and weapons at their hands.
Unfortunately, but so yeah, I'm actually pretty pleased with how we worked all this out. This was a pretty interesting segment, a pretty interesting episode. AT Astro never fails to deliver. Well, at least I like to believe it doesn't. But yeah, so I will be posting information to get a hold of both me and Mr. Bradley Moonchild here, who is a phenomenal tarot card reader. He runs Bad Boy Tarot. You'll be able to get in contact with him if you'd like to schedule a private reading. I also do offer consultations on my own. And of course, I will have all my information down at the bottom of my video at the bottom of this video as usual. And this has been crazy.
Thank you so much for having me on, man.
It was an absolute pleasure having you on. This was a joy.
Super. This has been exciting for me, like truly.
Yeah.
I went through my coffee like really quick.
Yeah, and actually, I will be inviting you on here more often. I mean, and especially as we continue to go through the months. I mean, our monthly forecast. You can definitely be a part of that. I'm more than happy to have you on. And thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time.
And I've already got an idea of because I'm gonna start getting videos up for my page, and I've already got an idea. We're gonna talk about.
Yes, Bad Boy Tarot will have his page up and running here shortly. His own YouTube channel, and as soon as it's up and running, I will have the link posted down at the bottom of this episode. This AT Astro broadcast, and any other one that features Mr. Moonchild, and believe me, there will be many more. And it will all be available for y'all guys. So, until next time, guys. Peace.